Magic said something to me after I got my world title. He goes, you're proving to the world that you could be a good fighter, right? But could you be a world-class teacher? Why? Because most good fighters out there can't teach worth a lick. Now, most good instructors out there can't fight their way out of a paper bag. It was a good challenge you gave me. Like, could you actually do both? So what did that mean? You got to get out of the realm of being a fighter and actually go into the realm of understanding people to actually be able to teach them. Because if I just try to teach you as a fighter, all this stuff comes natural to me at this point because I've done it over and over again. So I'm not going to understand your lack of discipline and your inability to do it over and over again, even though you're going to come to me and say, I want to be able to do this. People are going to say that all the time. The frustrating thing for you as an instructor is when they don't want to put in the work. Now, how do you take a generation of people and instill work ethic? Because that's what it was different when I was starting coming to teach. But you coming in to teach right now, what you're going to have to deal with is how do you instill work ethic? That's why I drive the kids the way that I do, right? Because how many gym classes they're part of, it's optional. You can do the push-ups or not, right? If you don't want to do the push-ups, you guys can go hang out on the bleachers over there. Then they come to a place like this where there's nothing that's optional. You're doing every last bit of this. I push them, but if you ask them as much as I ask them, what they'll say, no one really pushes me this way. So you're going to have to become that person that, now you got to step out of the realm of being the person that's actually being able to do it. Now, how do you take all that and convey it to somebody? It can't happen without work ethic because they'll get it today and what's going to happen tomorrow. They're going to forget it. Then you're going to show back up and put all that time into it again. Then you're going to show back tomorrow and do the same thing, right? And then you're also going to realize the difference between teaching, obviously, privately versus when you're teaching a group class. What's the hardest class to teach?
Tiny Tigers Beginner.
Tiny Tigers Beginner, man. Little 5-year-old, 6-year-old beginner. Yeah. They don't process things the same way. So you're trying to teach delayed sword and you're trying to get a 5-year-old mind to comprehend what you're trying to get them to do. They don't comprehend it outside of fun. You're trying to teach them this thing that you've been teaching adults and older kids. Now you got a 5-year-old. How you going to get this 5-year-old to not just learn it, but how you going to keep their attention long enough to do it? Now multiply that 5-year-old by 20. Now you got 20 of them in there. How you going to have all 20 of them saying yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and staying focused on you? Because I need y'all to understand, one person can control the whole room, right? But what's the first thing I really wanted you guys to get is presence and volume. The way you stand when you're talking to them and how you guys project, man. Like, that is crazy important. I was talking to Chris about it. Like, when you don't project, they don't get it. It's different, you know what I'm saying? And it's not that you're yelling at them, but it just commands their attention differently. How much louder am I teaching the Tiny Tigers class versus when I go into like the Tigers class?
Like, a lot louder.
Yeah, by the time I get done, but teaching the Tiny Tigers class is a workout, man. By the time I'm done, you gotta get ready for the next class because it's like it takes so much energy. I'm running all over the place. And next thing is they understand movement, right? If you're just static, you're gonna lose them after a few minutes. How much do I move when I'm teaching? Right? I'll teach it over here. I'm like, all right, you guys now come over here. All right, you guys, here we go. And the more I'm saying that that's where you need them. Same thing I was taught. I'm tell you guys the same thing I was told. There's no such thing as a bad student. There's only a bad instructor. Meaning there should be no one that walks through that door that we can't teach. So that means when you have somebody who comes up to you and says, my son is autistic, can you teach him? My son is Asperger's. Can you teach him? My son is ADHD. How do you handle that? Right? Remember what I do with the kids? I'll tell the kids, okay, define ADD. They'll say, we don't want to listen. Right? So define ADHD. We really don't want to listen. Right? Well, what's ODD? We're just really too crazy and think we really don't have to listen. Right? Their way of like looking at that, because they've seen so many kids come in here that they were told that this kid is ADD, ADHD. They won't listen to anybody. And they're looking at this kid stand in line just like anybody else. So is it that kid can't control themselves, or were they never given the right environment to control themselves? That's the problem. So a lot of these kids are really mislabeled and misdiagnosed. They keep putting all these labels on them because it's easier to deal with, because it's also easier to prescribe a medication, for the behavior. But here's the funny part. Most of these people will trade one behavior for the next. Why? Because you'll get a kid that's really so-called hyper, you'll put them on such and such. Well, that kid now turns into a zombie. then you got all these other side effects that you got to counter, right? So the kid can't sleep at night. Now you got to give them another medication to counter the side effect of this one. So they're treating like all this craziness when all it is this kid just needs time. Spend some time with him. Get in his face. Be with him. Like, don't just talk at him. Kids know when you're talking at them, right? Talk to this kid. And the more you get their attention, those kids are like zeroed in. Why? Because they're starved for attention. They just don't know what kind of attention that they're starved for. So they're trying to tell an adult, that's why do you think I make such a big deal out of it when they bring me their little drawings? It might not mean nothing to us, but the fact that little Susie was back there, like, in her mind, like, she's painting a masterpiece. So when she presents this thing to me, she don't see what everybody else sees. But over the years of me taking the time to do that, I actually began to see a masterpiece in what they're painting me. You know what I'm saying? But I see them give it to other adults and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Now, what do you think little Johnny thinks? Right? And they keep doing that. So you got to learn how to make what doesn't seem like a big deal to adults. You can't think of it like that for a child. They don't process things the same way that we do. So if it's a big deal to them, you got to jump into their little world and realize, no, this is a big deal to them because this is the way they process it. Now, if they perceive that you can't process that, man, they're yours. That means you're winning their hearts. Now, if you win their hearts, they will listen to you like they'll listen to nobody else. Why? Because you care. It's not even that you got a special gift with these kids, just because you care. They'll listen to you like no other. That's why for me, a lot of times when people are like, man, these kids will follow you around. They do everything you say, but what they don't see, how much time do I spend with them, right? You know, you're here throughout the course of a day. If we got a kid here from 7:30 to 5:30, you know how much time is spent with these kids? So people think like they just show up here for like 30 minutes once a week and then, oh my gosh, you guys broke the miracle. No, it's work. But people just don't see the backside of it. They see the results of it and they're like, wow, you're so gifted. No, I care. And that's all it is. It's just love. So that's why we can't be in a place in here where we're thinking one person's here, the other person's here. I might be up here to a kid, but to a whole other kid, you might be over here. So you can't be sitting there thinking just because I have a higher belt rank than you, then that means that's how the kids view it. That's not how they view it. They view it according to who loves me, who pays attention to me, who do I identify with the most. There's going to be something about your personality. Those kids are going to be like, that's my guy right there. Mr. Daddy who? Mr. David. Miss Lizzie, I remember Miss Lizzie. Mr. David. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be pretty interesting. Like anytime, if you get to come in at any time to kind of help with some of the kids' classes, it's going to change you. I look forward to seeing that with you, man. So you got amazing leadership here, dude. So it's awesome. Thank you guys for doing this. This is good stuff. We're going to conquer this lion.